Everybody, welcome to another installment of Show to V with Mike G, the show of wine, the show of Denver, the show of Austin, the show of being married and operating an urban winery with 360 square feet of space to live in. We are talking today on the 1-year anniversary of the Infinite Monkey Theorem Winery Austin location. We're speaking with Aaron and Meredith Berman, an amazing and a beautiful married couple working together to bring great wine to Austinites, just like they did in Denver, Colorado. I got to try the Chenin Blanc and this rosé in a can, and I've got to tell you, this is an amazing, amazing juice, and I hear the tour is a great experience to meet the makers and understand the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this chat with Aaron and Meredith Berman. It is always great, especially on their 1-year anniversary, to talk to a married couple about how you run a business together.
To say that it's amazing. It's all, everything I've ever wanted, but the reality of the situation is it's very stressful.
Yeah.
And
Is it stressful in the sense it's like actually a strain on you guys?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely like who we are. And like, the hope, and I think it has been to this point, is that it makes us stronger together, especially like as we have kids and as we get older, but it's definitely strenuous.
It is hard. And it's hot out, and that makes it worse.
Honestly, the heat has been a really big factor.
Isn't it
our
really, though?
aggravation? Yeah.
You know how many people I expected would kill each other in Tennessee Williams' place just because of this sheer humidity in New Orleans. Oh my God! But that just compounds it all.
It really does,
and especially coming from Colorado, right? Because I know Aaron, you lived in Colorado. Did you as well?
I did too.
So now I love Austin. It's great. Weather-wise, kind of a downgrade.
Yeah.
That's put it lightly. I think we both went through this big summer depression.
Yeah.
Which is not when you're supposed to go through your depression, right?
It's
supposed to be in the
weird,
winter, but it's very clearly summer for us, where you realize your options are limited in what we're capable of handling.
No, I get that too. There's a period in it. I don't know if it corresponds to like the shift into summer and just seasons how they shift. But dude, I was like, why am I feeling dark?
Oh yeah.
What's the why?
Yeah,
does it
we
make
definitely
a lot
feel
of
like that too.
I think it doesn't help that we live in like 370 square feet with each other.
Yeah.
And that's like, we're just always, which honestly has been why I feel like we've had such a great marriage, is because we love spending time with each other.
Yeah.
But I think getting this place up and going was a new frontier for us.
Yeah, I love that. That's the thing. I worked with my wife. That's how I met her, and then she left where I work, and I was like, I'm kind of bummed. I really do like it, even if it's all the time. Like we're kind of like shoulder to shoulder, but you do get some intimacy from that.
Definitely.
And going through these struggles together, of course.
Yeah, I think we've learned so much more about the individual facets of each other that I don't think we would have known. I mean, maybe even 10 years down the road, because we live together, we work together, and we do it all on one piece of property.
Yeah.
And so there is no escape, right? It's a constant interaction with each other. And I think as we start to transition into a new phase of life, having a kid, it's one of these things that I think we have a head start.
I think so too. I mean, you're it's forged more solidly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I keep thinking like Game of Thrones words, but
don't get him started.
I will.
It'll be over.
I promise.
Best series ever.
We could start talking about shoes or bands from Leeds, maybe. Don't get me started. There's a lot of good stuff. Well, so then it begs the question: you got this amazing second satellite location
for the infinite monkey theorem. But this is the thing. You guys watch The Simpsons at all?
He
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
Do you remember? All right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
monkeys at the.
Of
It's
course,
the best
yeah.
of times. It was the blurst of times. And the
Yeah.
monkey goes crazy.
Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
So the concept in itself that you stick enough monkeys in front of a typewriter that something brilliant will be composed. That is, for the model that I was reading about in Colorado, that's a brilliant way to do it. So, but before we start, because that's like the goodies, right? Like talking about how you guys started in Colorado. But let's go back. So, Aaron, for you, were you a math kid? Were you a sports kid? You're pretty damn tall. Basketball, maybe?
I played tennis and rugby.
There we
actually.
go.
Yeah.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I played both in college, and I always grew up like playing a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And I have this dad who's a doctor and like very mathematical,
Mhm.
and I have my mom who's like an artist,
Yeah.
and I really felt like I got both of that.
Oh, you're so lucky.
So yeah, it was like an art project, or just being able to get by in math, just because I felt comfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal when I went to college, because like we were just talking about this before, like I feel like there was so much pressure to make money,
Yeah.
and to do something that you had to make money, and I just said, screw it, I'm just going to be an art major and I'll figure it out later.
No kidding.
So that's what I did.
Did you grow up in Colorado then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Denver.
Is that? I know you went to business school. I guess getting your master's outside of the States, right? In Leeds, is that correct? Is Leeds where I think it is?
No. It's in Boulder. So
Oh, no
it's
kidding.
the University of Colorado Business School.
Oh,
It's
got
called
it.
the
got it.
Leeds
Yeah,
School
it's
of
called the
Business.
Leeds School of
Oh,
Business. Yeah.
Man, we're talking about Jen for a second, but I guess
No. Yeah, and undergrad I went to one of the Claremont colleges.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Pitzer College in
What-
LA. Yeah.
What was this straight and narrow path before you kind of diverged into art? Was it?
I was pre-med.
No shit, you're a
Yeah,
pre-med.
yeah.
Any kind of specialty yet?
I had no idea.
If you're an artist, I was like, maybe cardiology.
Yeah.
something from the heart. You know? What was? I mean, art's great, and what piece of it was interesting to you? Do you actually paint or draw, or was it the art history part?
I'm the worst drawer ever. Like, I cannot do anything, I guess, from my like own talent. I like recreating from old things.
Mm-hmm.
So I got really into essentially recycling like the work tables from the art studio. Like I literally undid these 2 foot by 2 foot square tabletops that had years of like paint and crap all over them. And then I would use them in like my mixed media pieces, where I would do like these collage styles, do an ink transfer, and it would transfer into that background. And the whole idea for me was I was reusing something, and there was history embedded in the art piece
Implicitly.
that you can't like just visually see.
That's crazy. Do you like working with your hands then? Sounds like
Yeah.
That makes you the perfect guy to work at something involving booze. I'll tell you right now. The guys like you guys are with this like slight beards that like use their hands.
Right.
That's like my whole staff right there.
I mean, I definitely break a lot of things.
That's
but,
okay.
It's like,
But you're like, I'll figure.
at least I know how it works now.
Yeah, that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
So did you finish then ultimately with? Because so you shifted into a business degree, but does that mean you have to step away from doing art to do that?
After college, like I knew I was going to go back and kind of do MBA somewhere, and so I continued to like do artwork for my friends and my family.
Oh, cool.
But I think over the years, obviously, it's dropped off a ton, which Meredith always tells me I should need to get back into. But
It's hard because it's like this. It's like a fling you have, and I know it in the most positive way. But it always calls you back. You can never get away too long.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the beautiful package design you guys have and those capsules, there's beautiful like kind of obviously the standard kind of foil capsules, but then you get this great gold architectural kind of pattern on it and stuff. Did you have input in that?
No, that was actually yeah. So the bottle designs came from a graphic design artist in LA who did album covers.
Oh,
and
cool.
so we kind of presented this really cool concept of like we want it to be graffiti, urban, gritty, and the infinite monkey theorem, and this is what came out of that.
Does it not remind you kind of the Doolittle from the Pixies cover? That's kind of what I was thinking when I first saw it. Yeah,
I guess so. I never thought about it.
About that.
Yeah,
but that's that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
definitely.
a great record. Kind of works, right?
No, I do. Yeah, no, it does. I mean, the whole idea was like we wanted it to look like someone had graffitied over it over time.
Yeah.
You know, and there was that history and like all those artists that went into it.
You in history again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing.
theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's paying homage to history is what makes things successful in the present day. If you ever try to recreate things, like fonts are a great example. You can create new fonts, but you always have to harken back to those like old typeset fonts. Because there's something subconscious about the way that we consume that stuff.
Definitely.
Well, so then I got asked the same thing. I've read a bit about you, Meredith, and so wine is a piece of it in Argentina, I think. But growing up, are you the same kind of athletic, really strong and tall, Rocky Mountain going?
No. I was so the opposite. I was like the kid who wanted glasses and braces and at the same time, and I had them. I had my wish.
That is a tough
really,
go.
really
I did that.
bookish. Yeah. I was a super nerd.
Colorado kid too?
Colorado kid, mostly. We moved there when I was about 9 years old. So my dad is from Baton Rouge. My mom is from Austin and Houston.
Wow.
And they tried their best to give us a Colorado lifestyle and you know, take us up skiing and
the natural kind of lifestyle.
the natural lifestyle,
Hiking.
right? Yes, and you know, it was so much fun. My dad was such a trooper. He would take us up. You know, we'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drive all the way up to the mountains, do our ski day, and my mom would come with us sometimes. Fall down the mountain and quite literally wait for a Texan to come by and help like pick her up because no one else had the time to deal with this.
Everybody's they're in the fast lane, man. Texans kind of enjoy this.
Yep.
If we had juleps here, well, I mean, we do, but if we had big, massive porch swings, we'd be out drinking juleps.
So true.
Yeah.
Just looking at stuff.
It's
Sweating our
exactly
ass
what it is. Yeah.
Well, so why? So the book is bookish a good word for it? You can mention that. Like, were you pretty erudite reader and all of that?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would like to think I was. I think I actually maybe more looked the part than actually was. But I was definitely a shy kid. Definitely. I mean, I love to study. I love to write papers. I love to do all of that kind of stuff as a kid.
What did you enjoy? Which subjects did you enjoy? Are you an art person as well? Or is it more English? Or
Definitely more English.
Yeah.
I just love research. So
really,
yeah, love
any
research.
topic or just anything?
Interestingly, as a kid, my like crowning achievement was writing this research paper about marriage and the Jewish and Christian versions of what it means and like the traditions that surrounded it.
Really? That is not exciting to me.
It's I know to many people.
I love being married. It's great, but like I just want to take it for what it is, you know.
I grew up in a really religious family, and so we had, it was like all about biblical studies, right?
See.
And so for some reason, this really piqued my interest, but it was kind of a forbearance because Aaron's Jewish and I'm Christian, and I just remember this as a very monumental paper that I wrote when I was in 6th grade.
Like a premonition.
It really was. It really was, and I've always found that really peculiar. I don't know, but I love comparative studies like that. Yeah.
I always go to music and movies, but was there maybe an artist, or whether it's musical or like straight up artist, that you really identified with during that period?
Desiree.
You
don't remember Desiree from the 90s?
I don't think so.
Oh.
No, and
is that the song where it's I know this song.
I know. I'm actually also blanking on how it goes. There was
are we talking 90s?
One, yeah. Oh yeah, super 90s.
Oh.
There was like one song she was known for.
Dude, I'm gonna have to restart. I'm making notes now.
Oh man.
You'll
thank me later.
That one?
Yeah.
Wait, which one is it?
Yeah.
No, I know this.
Oh my gosh, what are the lyrics?
Is it pop?
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
Okay,
it's like
okay.
Is that
poppy.
Desiree where it's like, I'm a bitch?
No,
that's Meredith Brooks.
That's
Who am I thinking of then? It's something kind of like that.
it. Sounds
right?
just like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the strong female solo vocalist that played guitar, is that fair?
Yeah,
That genre?
effectively. Yeah,
What
she
is-
was a little
so-
more like R&B, but
Okay. Did
but there were guitars involved sometimes.
Yeah, see, that still counts. What was it about her that kind of like you rallied behind?
Oh, such a good question. I really
And sometimes it's hard to remember in the 90s.
yeah, I mean, I was such a deep child. I think you heard it. I liked that she was like this lone female, which at the time, I think a lot of women in that genre were well, there just weren't that many necessarily,
really
or there were
weren't.
like lots of groups
Yeah.
instead of just being one individual. Angie has a raspy, deep voice.
Okay,
which I
so kind of
love.
like soulful and
Yeah.
sultry. But that
Yeah.
to Aaron's point, like Meredith Brooks kind of did some shit. You know, I mean, it's not one of my favorite singles ever, but at least like that kind of pushed it through. Alanis Morissette, of course, during that
Yeah.
like,
She-
95-ish, I think, right? That
Definitely.
opens stuff up. I don't know if that's the same now, really.
Yeah, I think things are so much more accessible now, and
Yeah.
I mean anyone can do it. No one has to be a.
Don't have to work for it.
You don't have-
I don't
yeah.
feel like be a
Yeah.
touring artist anymore.
You had to
Yeah.
discover it, right?
Yeah.
Sam Goody or whatever.
Oh man,
Remember
you were
the listening
warehouse
docs?
music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Warehouse. They'd open the CDs so you could listen to it.
Yeah,
They
Brilliant.
they also had little booths too.
Yeah.
The
God, I listened
top
to
10.
so many shitty CDs.
but you thought you were so cool when you were doing
Oh, I
it.
thought I
You're
was
like,
cool as shit.
Oh, so good.
I'm like, oh, you know, I like Fugazi, right? Like, I'm so cool. And I'm still cool because I like Fugazi. But that's
You're definitely still cool. Yeah.
well. So I imagine then being into studying, being into academia and research, that college just was absolutely part of the plan for you.
Yeah, it was always part of the plan. My parents were very adamant on each of us going to school, kind of no matter what.
Yeah. How many siblings? Yeah.
Just a younger sister.
Oh, okay.
Just one.
So you're setting the standard.
That's right. She actually, we went to the same college. We lived together during college. We
Really?
did the whole thing.
So
yeah.
she's not too much
very
younger than I guess.
No, she's 2.5 years
Oh, that's
younger.
perfect. So you do it. So where do you end up going to school?
We went to Baylor.
You went to
We
Baylor?
went to Baylor, and it's all of its lovely glory right now.
Are
Yes.
you weren't pre-med too though? There's no way.
Oh, hell
okay,
no.
okay.
No.
What were you studying?
I started business, then studied abroad, and decided that was ridiculous. And
What's business in general or studying
it was-
abroad?
Yeah, business in general. Studying abroad, I'd still be doing it now if I could.
If I got paid to just like be a student in Argentina, for example,
Oh,
I'd do
I
it.
would do
Yeah.
that. Oh, for sure. So I ended up international studies and Spanish, and then
really?
I had enough credits at the time to have a business minor, and then regardless, also went to Leeds and did my MBA after. So I ended up back there, but
So
I
I think, is it safe to say that that's where you guys met?
No, it
Congrats.
wasn't.
Oh,
Really? I mean, like at Upheaval, I'm raising my hand and stuff. I'm like, I'm
What?
so sure.
what?
No, we met. Meredith had just moved back from Argentina,
Mhm.
and I worked at this really small company, like waiting to go back to MBA. I think I had like a year till it started, and one of the people that worked there went to college with Meredith, and she
Okay.
was like, "I think you'd like this girl. You should hang out."
East meets West.
Yeah,
That's right.
for real.
Man, that's incredible. What was the company that you work? What kind of stuff were they doing?
We did like marketing for home builder communities.
okay.
So I did a lot of the using my art degree. I did a lot of the animation for the websites and the ads.
Yeah. So, but this rich cornucopia of skills that again make you the perfect dude
He
to
is.
work at a vineyard or to work at a urban winery. You know, getting your hand. Oh man, we're almost there. We're almost there. So, I do want to talk about this because this is actually a perfect way to talk about how it's nice, light, and kind of ebullient. Talking about how you guys meet. We're drinking a Chenin Blanc. Is that right? And this one is a Colorado wine, or this is a Texas wine?
This is Texas.
Oh, rad.
Yeah, this is a Texas wine. We're really excited about some of these grapes coming into their real Texas identity, because for a long time Texas was planting a lot of grapes that were selling in the market internationally very well, but didn't grow very well in Texas. And
we do
so-
that shit.
Yeah,
We make
it's
it
like
work here,
marketing.
you know?
Marketing. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. If it doesn't work, don't push it.
That's right.
But Chenin Blanc is one of those that's actually seriously
Actually works pretty
growing
well.
well.
Where in
Exactly.
Texas does it typically grow?
Up in Brownfield, which is just south of Lubbock.
Oh, really?
As
But-
exciting as the name makes it sound.
The big thing is like it. Even though we are in Texas and Chenin Blanc does grow here, it's the acid isn't as high, so you can't make that real crisp like South African style Chenin Blanc
interesting.
that tastes like a Sauvignon Blanc.
Mm.
So that's why we actually put this in barrel and aged it on the lees, and it has like
Really?
a much rounder flavor.
It does.
profile.
It's almost silky.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not too, like to your point, it's not too acidic. And keep in mind, my palate is burned all the time by nice barrel strength bourbon or whatever, mezcal. But like this is still really, really whole. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel disconnected. So about how long in barrels typically do you find work?
For like a white wine like this, we'll
Yeah.
do 8 to 12 months. I
That's
think
great.
this one was 10 actually.
Yeah. It really helped bring it all together. New barrels, used to barrels?
So we try to use 90% French and 10% American, and we'll go through about a third of our barrels and buy new every year and kind of rotate it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this one a pretty popular SKU for you guys?
We just released it
Oh, really?
a few months ago. So
Really?
yeah, it's really great. It's like obviously it's a better kind of like winter cooler climate type of wine
Yeah.
since it doesn't have that high acidity. But yeah, I mean, I think we're really proud of it.
Yeah, what we like to do is kind of like test these in the tap room before we release them to the distributor.
Yeah.
So we know exactly how to sell them, to someone who's not directly in front of you where you can have the wine. So when the distributors out there and they're like, what are the tasting notes? How do I sell this thing? We have our own tasting notes, of course, but in the course inevitably of selling this to people in the tap room, it's like, oh well, this is like the summer reader wine, right? Where you're on the porch and you're reading this wine. Or we've got one, our Petite Sorrel, we call it the Ernest Hemingway wine.
Oh, nice.
It's like tobacco, cigars,
Brooding.
leather,
Yeah.
right?
Fighting, yeah.
Exactly, all of those things.
Yeah, I love it.
So they get these personalities, these characteristics, and that's kind of the benefit of having the tap room
Yeah.
in the city is that you get.
It's like a test.
Oh, it's
So,
okay.
all right.
Technology.
It's technology.
Well, so, this is perfect for relationships. You're talking and then... No, I mean, I
Told you to put it on.
I'm like, anyway, I've got to take this call.
So, this is a lovely wine, and we got a few more, too, that's going to really... It's going to really facilitate this conversation. It'll be brilliant accoutrement. So I thank you for that. So, now we're here. Meredith she's doing the school thing. You got a friend that says, hey, man, you might like this girl. I don't know why, but you may like her. So
Yeah.
did they set you up on a blind? Is that exactly how?
Yeah, it was kind of like a third wheel style date where we were supposed to meet downtown, and the whole day. Well, at the time, I lived kind of far away from downtown Denver, so I was kind of in, and then I was not in. Was playing softball, so I went back and forth the whole day.
Yeah, it was like the third wheel was yet to be determined.
Oh,
like
no.
I didn't think it was going to be me, but it was. Yeah.
So I finally committed, and I drove down, and yeah, I walked up, and Meredith was there, and I think I expected someone different, but not different in a bad way. Like
Right.
she just wasn't what I had pictured. She was dressed very professionally and looked like she had her shit together, which isn't to say that I thought she was a person that didn't. It was a little shocking, and I think you were really pretty. And so it was just like, I feel like so many times when a friend sets you up with another friend,
They're so wrong.
yeah, it just doesn't work. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like nothing what I was expecting.
Yeah. So at least you're intrigued. You're like, all right, okay. I think this would make a good conversation at the least.
Well, I hope that she kind of felt the same way about me. Or if I had to.
He had to grow on you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just the back and forth the day of kind of annoyed me, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it's
But
like a bad move.
it's a bad move, right?
Just being the dude who's like, I'm doing this thing at this time. I'll be there.
right.
Everybody loves that, especially in this industry.
that.
Oh my god.
But then, so we get drinks at one place and decide this is fun.
Yeah.
We'll go to the other place across the street. And when we walk in this bar, and there is like a gaggle of beautiful blonde girls that
Really?
all are like, Aaron, hi.
Oh.
And so
They were my friends.
which I didn't
Sure.
know.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So
Not-
he just leaves my friend and I for about an hour, and so I think I was like, well, that's the end of that. All right.
Oh man.
So bad moves. Bad
I
moves.
didn't know they were going to be there.
Yeah,
They're
right.
my, like good friends.
He's probably like, all right, okay. So what's the escape plan?
Right.
All right,
right.
hey, guys, can you show up we're gonna go to this bar, but just in case I need to bail.
Exactly what it looked like.
Oh man.
But I chased them down. I found them at another bar and hung out, and then walked her and our friend back. And as she got in the car to go, I was like, hey, can I have your number? And I don't think you wanted to give it to me.
Were you fed up like at this point?
No,
Seem like
I
a
was just
player or something.
Kinda,
Kinda, right?
There's something,
Something.
uneasy.
No, I don't get that
Yeah.
now. He's mellowed out, obviously.
Right. I mean, man,
He's been oaked
his
or something,
wilder
you know.
days. I know the guy. But really, it took me like 2 weeks before realizing this is the guy. This is it.
That's really.
I
That's great.
called a bunch and she like would not call me back. Or one time she called me and I asked her out and she said, I have to check my schedule. I'll call you back.
Man. She's
Which I knew
keeping
was
count
BS.
at that point.
Yeah. So she essentially told me that we could not go out on a date, that we had to go on more group dates.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So we did.
because he wasn't used to working for it. He told me that I was the first girl
Was
whose
it?
number he'd asked for, which is ridiculous. I'm like, well, how did you date? Because they just gave him to me. I don't know.
That's not true. That's totally
He's so
not
tall. I
true.
mean,
He is so tall.
it's like, you play tennis? Here's my number.
Because that's real life, right?
Totally real life.
Girls love doing this shit like
If I learned anything from Vince Vaughn movies, is that tall guys get numbers just handed to them.
It's
Straight
the
up,
truth.
automatic.
It's gospel truth.
So she finally said we could do a date, and it was the debate night versus
Which one?
Yeah.
Obama versus McCain, the
Oh,
first one,
geez,
and
that's a while ago.
and then the rest was history from there.
How was
Yeah.
the debate? Did you guys enjoy? Did
Who
you rally?
knows? I don't.
We didn't even.
Yeah.
I don't remember the debate.
Me neither.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, we
Pretty unimpressive.
It was bad.
we had our first kiss, and it was great. And yeah, now we're gonna have our first kid, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Kiss the kid. Well, there you
Kiss
go,
the
kids.
kid. That's how it happens.
The funny thing I always like telling is that when I was on the train with my coworker, who was Meredith's friend, when she first said, "Hey, I have this friend coming back from Argentina. I think you guys would get along." I said, "Okay, well, who is she? I'm gonna look her up on Facebook, right? Because that's
Of course.
obviously what you do."
Due diligence.
So I type it in, and I was like, "What's her name?" She's like, "Meredith." So I type it in. I type in Meredith Pilcher, and after nothing comes up, and I'm like, "Whatever, we were talking. I'll figure it out
Right.
later." It's like 24 hours later. I'm just randomly checking Facebook again, and I had accidentally put it in my status. So for like an entire day, my status to everyone was
man.
Aaron Berman is Meredith Pilcher. And so it's just like a funny thing I really like.
True, it's never typed.
Yeah.
It's really the epitome of empathy. You know how it feels to be a woman. It's really, really important thing to happen. Well, so how long was it before? Had you guys been? Well, actually, so when you got back from Argentina doing business school, what were you doing? Just doing the school thing full time and keeping busy with that?
I graduated college and then moved to Argentina for about a year and worked. That's where I found wine. I kind of stumbled into it.
Yeah.
Didn't have intentions of doing that.
Was alcohol a thing with your family growing up? By a thing, I don't mean like this rampant problem necessarily.
like long
Just
line
something
of
like, is everybody cool with it? There's a bottle of wine at dinner. and all
Yeah, I think my parents rarely drank. Well, I guess can't remember. I definitely remember them having wine around.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We were.
No, it's just a nice
Yeah.
for dinner or whatever. Right?
Exactly.
Bottle of wine or red.
Exactly. College, yeah, different story. And then Argentina, yeah, I started to learn a lot more. I was in Mendoza, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's textbook, right? But yeah, came back and then worked for my family's company, which is something totally opposite of wine. We did security.
Beer. No, I'm just
No, yeah. It's where beer will get you if you have too much. We did
yes.
security for correctional facilities.
Oh, wow.
And mostly like the stuff that can't yell at you. So the cameras and the doors and the locks and things like that.
That's crazy.
My dad's an inventor, and so he has a few lock and door patents for this, and it's a very bizarre, interesting industry.
Yeah. All I know is Orange is the New Black about it. Or Oz.
Right.
back in the day.
All true.
It
All
kind
true.
of
Yeah.
feels like a lot of that. Some of it's like, yeah.
I can see that.
Eh.
I can see
I
that.
don't want to go to jail, really.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where I landed. I don't want to go to jail.
You don't.
It doesn't
You
seem too
don't.
good. Did you get any exposure to that? Like seeing,
Yeah.
man.
We'd have to go in a lot. It's weird. So, like the same thing in wine. Like you tour people around your facility,
Sure,
right? I did
yeah.
the same thing in these jails and prisons. Is like, this is our camera. This is our door. Blah, blah. And meanwhile, there's
And the grapes are inmates.
Right.
Right,
Grapes are
wait,
inmates.
Is that turn them into some? All right,
all
maybe.
struggling for their existence. Yeah.
They're all, they're victims of their own surroundings.
Yeah. Oh.
See,
so
their
dramatic.
terroir, their cultural
It's so
terroir.
true.
Jeez, I
All
would never
highly
thought.
shaped by that. Yes.
But at some point, you're like, kind of not my thing.
Yep. Yeah. It
Yeah.
took me about 6 years to decide it's time to move on. But outside of the industry itself, it was I just felt very fortunate that I got to watch a business grow from a $75
Yeah.
sales order to these multi-million-dollar contracts
It's amazing.
over several years, and just watch my dad and his team how to navigate that. I don't
Right.
think when you're in your early 20s, you don't get that benefit
No,
of
you
seeing how a
don't.
business runs.
And it's when there's money, it becomes real.
Yeah,
But it doesn't change you, really. That's the weird thing. Is like, well, whether I was losing 100 or making 100, I still feel the same.
so
It's just
true.
a matter of just how a business evolves. It's like, oh, cool, we're making money now.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? We got to keep doing it,
Same.
keep filling those orders, and then when you guys are making wine, it's like a commodity. It's a bottle that you have to keep manufacturing. There's so much to that. But I imagine the wine piece still was of a lot of interest. Were you drinking more wines, learning more about it?
Way more.
Yeah.
Being drunk way too often.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's research.
Totally,
It's
right off.
research.
And we always knew we wanted to do something like professionally in
Yeah.
that industry. We wanted to stop having it be a hobby of ours.
Yeah, that was one of the cooler things about us dating and growing together.
Yeah.
Is that everything was very intentional, and especially both of us coming from entrepreneurial families. I think we'd both really desired that and
Yeah.
wanted to do something.
Perfect storm of stuff.
Yeah.
What was it the moment that, or series of moments when wine to you became such a like an inspirational thing? We're like, this is the thing that we want to do. This is the thing that we should do.
I think like my whole life, I just was more drawn to wine for two reasons. One, like I always wanted to be different, and everyone drank beer, right? And Natty Lights,
Yeah, oh yeah.
the top of the world, and I wanted to drink wine.
Top of the world, referencing a spot where you would drive up
Yeah, I
on
mean-
a cul-de-sac as a kid.
Oh, all right.
And my other thing is like I had this family, my mom's side in Italy, who had this like, we still have a family like compound there, so like there was a historical reference too, and
Wow.
and like visiting it and being like, this is not far removed from my great grandmother essentially.
It's in your blood, literally. Right?
Yeah, so it's fun. It's something like I knew meshing like the art with the business was going to be something very startup entrepreneurial, and
Yeah.
it just seemed like a perfect fit since obviously winemaking is making wine, but it's branding and
Oh, it's
marketing.
everything. Yeah.
And I just knew with her background, like I remember when we recorded like a 10-minute conversation when we were up in the mountains, like on a ski trip. It was just the two of us where we had defined like this is what we're gonna do in our lives. And we're still pretty young. We were probably only 23 years old. So.
Oh wow! And you guys are making those kinds of decisions.
What is wrong with us? I know.
No. I mean, it's quite the
crazy.
contrary. That's pretty brilliant to come to those terms so early on. If I'd done that, shit, maybe I'd be wearing pants right now. Okay.
I think
Patty Whiteys are nice. Don't get yourself down.
I think it was fun and something we felt that was, hey, we could take a big risk right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year are we talking?
That was like when we made that recording. I want to say it was like 2009,
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And then Aaron got involved with the winery like way ahead of when I did, but that was also really cool watching like this tiny little thing start to really catch a slow burn and then just blow up. It started in Denver, and it's just like Austin where people are so brand loyal and they want to support people who are working really hard and diligently. And I mean, it felt like overnight from an outsider, but really, I mean, it was just super late nights on spreadsheets and the conversations and the excitement and the anger and all those things that go along with a startup.
Yeah, and it becomes real.
Yeah.
It is a kid. You guys are having a second kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, each
Yeah.
product is in its own way, like this own being, its own voice, its own brand, its own color. All these things. It's an interesting thing to go through with somebody. And now, yeah, I didn't. My wife and I don't go through that, so that's good for her, I think. I'll go gray and like be the one that's real stressed. That's probably better. I can internalize like a real man. Right? So when we talk about, let's say this next chapter is Infinite Monkey Theorem is kind of coming together. Let's sip another bottle. Which one do you think would best punctuate this?
I think we should do the rosé, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
So while we're digging into that, I was at the airport in San Jose on Friday. It was a wine bar, but luckily they had some bourbon, so I didn't hold it against them. And so sat up at the bar trying to wait for my flight. And there was a woman that came in, probably successful business type woman, maybe hipper than most, probably in her 30s. And she goes and she sits down and she says, "Do you guys have any rosé?" And they look and they go, "No, we only have like Cab and some Syrah and stuff." She's like, "Oh." She seems so damn disappointed. What is this amazing resurgence or emergence of rosé? Why is this happening right now? Do you guys know? I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, it's that Instagram account.
Is it really?
I mean,
Aaron's
I feel like she tapped into something that was kind of about to start rolling, and then, I mean, I don't know why. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. Rosé is the best.
Oh, I love rosé. But what's this account? I know about stuff. It's not rosé all day, is it?
Yeah, well, that's one of them. Rosé all day, and then White Girl Rosé came out.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Also, oh my gosh, I claim pregnant brain here for a second.
No, that's good.
What's that one? It was the first one. Yes Way Rosé.
Yes Way Rosé.
Yes.
So you think it's a fabric of culture now, like social?
I think from a
white girl perspective.
No, from a I think a different perspective is you had for the longest time white Zinfandel, these sugary pink wines, and that's what people thought rosé was.
Right.
And then you have this resurgence of real, we'll just call it real rosé.
Yeah. Real zé.
Yeah.
Sorry,
real zé. Oh, see, you're the next account.
I guess traditionally made rosé.
Yeah.
Which is dry and with tons of structure in it and great profile as well. And I think it's just getting that more out in the open, getting it more acceptable.
Yeah.
And then, it just kept on going.
Is it the gin? So is it the gin of the wine world? And why I say this is that gin is a gateway booze, right? Because what you do is you give someone a gimlet, right? So some lime juice, some simple syrup, and some gin. Like, oh, now I can drink gin. It's not scary anymore. So let's go, and I'll go get a Boulevardier now. And so then you start getting these Amaris and these pastisses and all these kinds of things. Is rosé the thing that makes it okay to like wine? Is it a gateway type?
I would say that rosé is almost like when someone drinks a lot of wine, they start getting into rosé.
Interesting. So it's the opposite.
Yeah. I think that I don't know if you could pinpoint it. I think there are some varietals that are much more gateway varietals.
Yeah.
Chardonnay.
Sure.
Gateway
varietals. Yeah. And you guys are the dealer.
Right.
Cab Sav, things that maybe people, and this is honestly what we've built our business a lot on, is like they feel comfortable saying, and they feel comfortable ordering.
Amazing.
And I'm not sure that's a good thing. I'm just pointing it out.
No, but that makes a lot of sense. You're not going to order something that you don't really know how to pronounce.
Exactly.
Right? It's because you want to be an empowered buyer, an empowered orderer across the bar.
And you want to be able to know what you're tasting. So, I mean, if you're going to have a Chardonnay from California, you know that it's going to have mallow and it's going to feel very buttery. Mm. And then you as a drinker, you know what you're getting.
Yeah. It's good. It's always good. So you guys make this brilliant, is this 6.5 ounces?
Yes. So this rosé is in a can and it's 8.4. So it's 250 mils, same as a Red Bull.
Amazing. Yeah.
And we do a red, a white, a rosé, and a Moscato. So kind of go into that whole idea of like it's easy to say, it's easy to pronounce. This is actually made of Merlot grapes, this rosé. Mm. And with the can, we try what?
Syrah.
No, sir. Oh, so, I'm sorry. You're right. Totally messed that up.
Well, I mean, that first. Well, so the first sip, I'm like, it was like electric.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah, it was so, because it has so much flavor. There's so much depth here.
And it has a little bit of carbonation too. So we carbonate it because to stack it and get rid of the oxygen when we can. And I think at first when we started canning, we were one of two companies. It was us and Sophia. That little pink
the Coppola
can.
one. Yeah.
So we were trying to figure out ways like how to can without doing a nitrogen dose.
Okay.
And so we carbonated the product, and we thought that was a bad thing at first, and we ended up realizing that it's actually kind of interesting because it gives it an effervescence that people in the activity in which they're doing are kind of like, well, this makes a lot of sense for canned wine.
Yeah. It's so, but it's so crisp and so textured at the same time. That's something that I'd never, not to disparage, but I never really got from the champagne or the sparkling that they put out in the cans, right? Like, this is something really, really nuanced in a can, because most people, this is like over delivering, because people don't expect things in cans that size to be all that good. Yeah, they get the job done.
Yeah.
But how long has this been out then?
So we first in 2010 launched a black muscat that was all from Colorado. We only did 10,000 cans to just figure out what would happen.
Yeah.
And then in 2000 and really, I would say 2012, we launched all 4 SKUs, from a standpoint of a real launch. And so that's how long, it's been out for about 3 or 4 years now. And I would say it's really caught on in the last year or two. Really all canned wine has caught on.
Yeah. But this has got to be really popular for you guys.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes, there was a point where our business was 2% canned wine. And now it's the vast majority of our business.
That's incredible.
So for bottled wine, we stick to the 2 wineries that produce, bottled wine from the state, obviously. So the Denver winery does Colorado grapes in a bottle and keg. And then this one in Austin does Texas grapes, in a bottle and a keg.
That's so crazy. And so one of the things is, because now we're let's talk about the physical. You guys pick a location, you start operating, and you call it an urban winery. That's brilliant.
Which I've grown to hate, though.
So, all right. Why is that?
Because I think
urbanity.
I think at first I'm on board with you. It was great. It was changing it, and now I think people give it a perception, a negative connotation.
What kinds of things do they think about it?
Oh, you're just you're not a real winery. Yeah, you
but
just
who's that coming from, though?
Idiots.
Right. Is it coming from people that just really want to enjoy something that's made with some heart?
I think it's people that maybe just don't really know about what a winery actually is.
Yeah.
Because really we said urban winery just because you're literally taking the same exact winery that's in a vineyard and you're just putting it in the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think what has now developed is this other idea of what that means as an urban winery with, whether it's with other places that claim to be wineries and they're really just, bringing juice and fermenting, whatever, or just someone just doesn't understand the concept and, needs to come in for a tour and we'll go through it and kind of show all the exact.
Those people in Williamsburg that fuck it up for the rest of us. Right. Oh, it's farm to table. Yeah. Craft, eh? Well, that's really brilliant. But no, I'll tell you why I really kind of side with it, and you can. So we're in South Austin. We have a distillery in South Austin. Is it an urban distillery? Who gives a shit? I don't really care. It's just smart in terms of overhead, right? So it's a manageable space. You have the same space all the time, bound to be a slab where you can get work done. You can ferment. If you want a temperature control, you can. It's really just being calculated in how you operate this thing. I think so. What was the main reason you guys chose to do it that way? I don't know. Is it startup cash? That's part of it, I'm sure.
Well, when you think about the traditional machine of wine and vineyards and the way it works, it's people are always traveling to the wine region.
Right.
And, that's great. You go on a vacation and you see the winery and the vineyard and you do your romantic tour and this is the winery you found, and then you come home and you tell all your friends, hey, this is this cool wine I went to go visit. But none of your friends visit that winery.
Right. It's cash prohibitive.
And
depending, right?
And that person, they're still telling all their friends, this is a winery that I went to go visit. But if you simply just bring the winery to where the people are in the city, now it becomes their winery, everyone's brand,
Yeah.
which they can all enjoy and like all be proud of in the community.
Wow.
And there's like a dialogue that happens between, you know, the winery and the community in terms of whether it's like volunteering during harvest or bottling,
Yeah.
and you know, people actually being able to put their imprint on that
It's like
brand.
Stranahan's,
Exactly.
right? Because those guys have those bottling parties, and
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way to engage your community. They want to be a part of something. Not everybody can start a winery. Not everybody can start a brewery, you know? So that's what celebrity is, you know, we appreciate that guy's really attractive. I bet he has a lot of sex with a lot of attractive women. Like, that's not a bad thing. I'd hang out with him. You know, like it's just success. It's you emblematize, if that's even the word, entrepreneurship, and people admire that because some people don't think they can do it. You know, it's part of it as well.
People want to be in like the ground level too, like
Yeah.
being a part of it before it sells out, you know.
Totally.
Essentially, not saying we're going to sell out, but
No, I know.
the
but
idea is like, obviously we're a lot bigger than we were, and there are a lot of things that I think you still get obviously in Denver that now we've replicated down here in Austin, like when we started in Denver.
Yeah,
But obviously other things have changed.
totally.
You know, for better or for worse, I don't know. I mean, I would hope there for better for the people.
People are gonna hate you, or they're gonna love you, and they're gonna hate you. Then they're gonna hate you. Then they're gonna love you. I mean, so you talk about Fugazi, right? They never sold out, so people are like, "Yeah, stick to their guns." But like they're working at cheese shops and stuff now. Like they could have done something, and I appreciate that. But it's okay if you want to go bigger. Sometimes it provides more opportunities. And how long were you guys in the Denver spot before you? It is Denver proper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you decided to do the extension.
So we started in 2008 in the Santa Fe Art District, actually, which is right by Stranahan's.
Oh, cool.
And we started in a World War II Quonset hut. So it was about 1,800 square feet. And like a Quonset hut is not the best shape to be stacking stuff in, right? Because you can only stack down the middle since the roof is curved. And it was a lot of like trying to figure out where stuff was.
Yeah.
And we had this kind of crappy office space and then a courtyard where we would host like a First Friday artwork party. So we didn't even have a tap room. We just did wholesale, and we just did like tours and tastings at the winery.
Wow. How did you meet the owner?
So,
I know you probably both partial owners. I didn't mean to.
No. So Ben and I met through. So Ben is the winemaker and founder. So so if you look at all of our bottles, his father died of cancer, and he was working for a winery on the western slope of Colorado, and his father died, and he wanted to, do something. Kind of the impetus to, I want to do something for myself. Life, it's fragile, that sort of thing. I'm ready. And so he came down to start this winery. So one of the places he sold at in Denver, the wine buyer there was a friend of mine, and as he was selling, she had mentioned, hey, you're getting this winery going. You should talk to this person I know who's in business school right now and is very like, startup oriented. You never know. So we reached out, we got introduced, and we reached out, and Ben had started, and starting a winery is like the worst business model.
Oh,
So if anyone is listening that like wants to start a winery, don't do it.
Or do it, but beware.
Because you're literally sitting on product and you're not selling it before you have to buy the next year's product.
Right.
So if you grow, it's just not sustainable. So he was kind of at that point, right? The brand, he was selling his first vintage, not enough money. There were issues. People just weren't on the same page.
Right.
It was just him and some friends and family and some angel investors. I don't think people were on the same page on which boat to be in and which direction they were taking.
Yeah.
A lot of egos involved, and I was
Pup.
Yeah, I was young coming in with some eager to learn business stuff from MBA and just wanted to implement it in the real world.
Right.
And it worked out great for Ben because he wanted to just focus on the winemaking. And
gives him, he can go in his own little happy place, and you can deal with operations.
I'll deal with business
CFO,
operations.
Is that right?
Yeah. So at first, we didn't have any money. I said, I'll just help out. We'll see what happens later.
Yeah.
So I worked there for 3 or 4 months, and we kind of got it righted and going in the right direction, to the point where I think Ben and I both kind of looked at each other and we were like, all right, we have to continue this.
That's amazing.
We're going the right direction. And so kind of at that point, it was like official. It was the two of us, and we were going to go out and raise more money and change the business plan a bit and, take it to the next level.
That's incredible. When did you get involved, Meredith?
I and the rest of Aaron's friends got involved at the start whenever he did.
Not the same friends from the bar, though, right? No.
Right. No. Actually, unpaid, of course. It was just that random volunteering where, you're like, you're
sure,
at your lunch break, and can you come? It's harvest, and the grapes are in, and we would all help bartend, too, on these first Friday nights.
That's so cool.
But actually getting paid, that happened about 1.5 years ago.
Wow.
So pretty recently.
And so is it the Holy Trinity of Ben, yourself, Aaron, and Meredith?
Well,
no. So we've had, so when we started, it was the two of us, myself and Ben. And then we went through it. Actually, Ben's wife worked for the company. And then we had other employees too. And so by this point, when we knew we were going to open up Austin, we had, I don't know, maybe 12 employees. And it just made a lot of sense for Meredith and I to come down here and start, because...
Some family for you, right, Meredith?
Some family for me. We were looking for an adventure. I mean, it was time to kind of spread our wings a bit. Yeah.
A hot, sweaty adventure.
Hot, muggy adventure.
We grew up in Colorado. It was time for an adventure, and we could, because, we didn't have any kids yet and that sort of thing. And so it made a lot of sense that just the two of us could start and run this operation.
What was it about Austin that drew you to it? Same kind of vibe as Denver?
Yeah, we wanted to look at a place that was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I wish I would have known a ton of things that I knew back then. But yeah, something like young, college-like, because of Boulder.
Sure.
Oh, well, I mean, you have DU and CU Denver. Food scene, like hipster style.
Sure, a lot of beards.
Yeah, a lot of beards.
Yeah, necessary.
A massive, emerging brewery and distillery culture, so you fit right in. I mean,
lots, and honestly, like a lot of outdoor activities here that, although it's not mountain oriented, everyone's doing the same outdoor stuff. In their time schedule, I guess. So that's kind of.
So it works.
Yeah, that's what we kind of were like. Okay, Austin has got to be the place.
That's amazing.
Then you have this big grape area.
Yeah.
That is kind of underutilized right now, and there's good grapes. It's just a matter of, more time, more love. Let's figure it out.
So then we're talking November of 2015, if I understand correctly, from your wonderful PR representative.
Yeah. I actually came down in February.
Ahead of time, right?
Yeah, to
That's
get the project
rolling.
rolling.
I think it opened, right?
To the public, the tap room was November.
Okay.
Yeah. We did our first vintage, though, Texas in 2015.
Well, so it's perfect. So we've got, I think is it the Texas Merlot that you picked?
Yes.
That it would be the perfect,
right?
Yeah.
Again, accoutrement to the Texas chapter, the smelly Texas chapter. But you came to the right place at the right time. You're talking February of 2015.
Yeah.
You have probably 10 times the amount of breweries and distilleries that you did just 5 years prior. It's something that the TABC has started to embrace.
Yeah. Because they changed that big law with the tap room.
That's right, yeah. And then allowing, I guess, you and I both to be able to sell at the facility.
Correct.
Now, given there's some limits respective to our particular industries, but that's a big, big change.
Definitely.
Did you know about those changes beforehand?
No.
Oh, really? So it was
we literally thought it was going to be pretty straightforward, kind of like Denver. You could have a tap room or a winery you could sell on site.
Sure.
And then I'm glad I came down, 10 months early to figure all that stuff out and run around like crazy.
Has it been a not easy process, but has it been a pretty amenable process, like getting this set up with the state and the county and all of that?
Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
I think, as long as you, go into it knowing that it's a process.
Sure.
And just making sure you put effort into it instead of not filling something out.
Wait, you're not going to fill that out?
I think it's like that in every state. I mean,
Sure.
it's alcohol regulation.
Oh yeah, because there's money.
Mhm.
It's all
Yeah.
about money.
It takes a year to get a federal license. So
Oh, does it really?
yeah, I mean something for. I mean, it can. I mean,
Yeah.
9 to 12 months. I mean, for the state, what's 6 months?
Yeah, it's
Nothing.
crazy. So we're now sipping. This is the Texas Merlot.
Yeah.
So this has got to be a crowd pleaser, despite Paul Giamatti in Sideways. Despite that, even though I love the movie and he seemed like a very pretentious gentleman. That's right. He's sad.
Super
Very sad.
pretentious, but
It's an
hidden meaning on the Merlot. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well-
do it. You love that story.
Well, two things. It's an MBA case study.
Is it really?
Yeah, because Merlot sales dipped because of that movie.
Oh my gosh.
And also, people don't get that he hates Merlot because that's his wife's favorite wine. That's what he
Right.
drinks, in the.
He doesn't find it pedestrian?
That's
Because I swear I thought
That's what he makes it look like.
what he makes
Yeah.
it look like. but
Alexander Payne didn't do a good job.
his best
What an
bottle
artist.
was that bottle at the McDonald's or whatever it was.
That was the best
Yeah.
thing ever. Sad, but it's good.
yeah.
Heartbreaking.
But yeah, it actually hurt Merlot sales in the U.S.
But there's Texas Merlot somewhere. Where does that grow here?
So same place up in
Okay.
Brownfield. So all of our wines are up in Brownfield except for one, which is our sparkling wine we do. That's made with a Blanc de Bois from the Hill Country as a base, and we do that in like the traditional Champenois method. But this Merlot, it sits on oak I think it sat on oak for 13 months, and then we recently just bottled it actually.
Oh, very cool.
So
This one's recently bottled?
Yep, recently bottled, and we did this in a Tempranillo for our two reds for
That's so cool.
2015.
What do people, how do they side with the stuff that you offer? What's typically their favorite when they're in the tasting room and you get to have this conversation? This is the Hemingway one, the tobacco and the
No, this is the Hemingway one.
Oh.
This is yet to be named since it's so new.
Oh wait, hold on then.
Yes, I know. You seem well read.
I've seen books before.
Give us a name.
They have words, I think.
Yeah.
No, but how do the customers feel?
This is the great thing again about that tap room is that people start to really love Texas wines after coming in because we can put it against, a wine from a more popular region. But people are loving this one now. They're loving the Tempranillo. But our blind watchmaker also is generally one of the higher grossing.
What's that one?
It's a blend every year, and every year it's different. This year it's a mix of our Texas Cab Franc and our Colorado Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's kind of our roots wine. It's where we come from in both locations. And it's that one always just sells really, really well. I think people are starting to appreciate blends more. I think a lot of times they had a bad reputation for being just whatever the winemaker had left. Whereas truly, I mean, in the old tradition and what winemakers are really doing is selecting a good marriage, and that takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of it's hard.
It's literally mixing. It's like mixing an album. It's like what are the notes? That's the same kind of conversation and almost like contention in mezcal. People are like, well, it's a blend. It's like, yeah, but these varietals are so different. You can't get everything you want.
Yeah.
This one. You have to blend it.
Yeah.
You can't, the Beatles wouldn't have been the Beatles unless everybody brought in their unique thing. And that's why it works, is that it's filling in that empty space with these other types of flavors. So people are more amenable to it now than you're saying, than they probably ever were.
In the U.S., I think so. And I guess I would say even more specifically our markets that we know the most about. But we also do a wine slushy, and that
Oh, nice.
that just takes the cake. Yeah, that's far the
a
most
lot
popular.
of fun to do. Yeah, we usually use a little Moscato in it to give it that floral sweetness.
Genius idea.
It's so good.
I love this Merlot though, from Texas. I'm really happy about it because it has all our wines are obviously fruit forward, but this has a really great cherry blackberry taste to it.
So I can talk. Well, I hate tasting notes. That's the best thing. Right? When you get to a certain point, fuck, dude, I don't know.
It's so
But
true.
there's something really creamy and kind of caramelly to me about this in the back of palate,
Sure.
And it makes it so it's got all the fruit and the brightness, but then all of a sudden it gets kind of sweet and wholesome at the end.
Definitely.
Which is so I was trying to think, because you guys have this Hemingway When you talk about the ways to describe the wines, Hemingway was no way sweet. He was never.
No, what an asshole. Yeah.
But Fitzgerald might have been, and Tennessee Williams absolutely might have been.
Oh.
Right? Like hanging out, you're deep, you're passionate, but yet you're still concerned about the human condition. Hemingway didn't give a fuck, I don't think. Right? Like he's just like soulless at times, you know. But like it does feel that way because it is nuanced again, but it's still very accessible, and then it just has this just wholesome, unctuous finish to it that brings people in, and they can feel like they can hug you.
All right, so you're going Tennessee Williams on this.
Yeah, I like
All right.
I like that too.
Shall be named.
All
Leslie.
right, perfect. That's the only reason I
That
have
was easy.
So what kinds of, so you guys have a particular, do you call them tours when you book at the winery?
Yeah, I mean, you can come in. It's like a tap room. You come in if you want.
Yeah.
Whenever, 6 days a week. And then we do 3 different kinds of tours, a public tasting tour.
How many people does that involve typically?
It's a max 25.
Okay.
And they're so fun. You get people from all different groups coming in and rubbing up against each other, and everyone's really prickly at first, but the more wine you drink, of course,
Absolutely.
the stories start to
to
fall out.
I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
ridiculous questions.
That's the
in
given,
the best
right?
way.
More alcohol always cures
Yeah.
like one of those things.
Love
lubricant,
bachelorette parties.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
They're so fun. But when you get 2 on a public tour together, that's like the best day ever. They actually have a really good time. And then we do private tours, same kind of thing, only in your own space.
Yeah.
Yes. And then barrel tours too. So barrel
that's really
tasting.
cool.
So we pull straight from the barrel or the tank, depending on where the wine is in its evolution.
We'll usually pull like from the reeling rack to one of the
Yeah.
sparkling
Oh,
wines.
nice.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because it still has all the chunky yeast in it, which
Yeah.
sounds extraordinarily appetizing. I
No,
think.
it's
but
good.
it's
It gives it
interesting.
some bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
mean-
good texture.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there are some wines that aren't filtered, right?
Oh yeah.
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 And those are the ones that kind of funky and they give you all this depth that you would have never expected.
Definitely.
What is a personal tour run?
$1 million. No, they're 50. It's very approachable for everyone.
Yeah.
They are 35.
Oh,
a
that's
person.
really
Yes.
reasonable.
Yeah.
So we go through like 5 different wines. It's more heavy in like the tasting because the facility is only 6,000 square feet.
Only.
But we do take you back, and we do tour. But I would say it's definitely a little bit heavier on the tasting and the explanation of the notes, and not explanation, really talking through the notes.
And the education too, because our whole deal is let's not make this more complicated, right? Than wine is. And so, if you want to learn, if you're a gateway person, we will give you a one-on-one class in this tour, and it's so fun for us to do. We love that. If you're well seasoned and you know what you like and you know why, and you've traveled the world in wine, we can do that too.
Sure.
All
It's learning
fun.
levels, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys both facilitate together? Do you split it?
Aaron does the bachelorette tours.
I knew you
He's
were
like,
gonna
do you guys
say
know I
that.
used to play tennis?
Yeah, he's got a lot of good material.
The dog runs up to me and I just hold the dog. It's like,
And the girl's like, oh my gosh.
He's so wholesome.
Yeah.
That was my impression of a woman.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's good.
We actually, Aaron and I will fill in, but we've got a kick-ass girl. Her name is Kat.
Yeah.
We call her the conductor. And so she
Amazing.
does a lot of the tours
she's
now.
great.
Yeah.
So how has Austin been for you so far? The
Really
people.
Oh,
Slower.
yeah.
Is
It's
it
The way
slower.
of life, yeah.
But
I see.
the
Okay.
people are, I would say they're not nice. They're kind. I mean, they're more, they're just more like loving and involved and want to see you succeed and help
That's
you
so cool.
succeed.
Yeah.
And so,
Like
Yeah.
a family, an extra family.
yeah. Definitely, yeah. It's a southern pace of life for sure.
Yeah. I'm a very anxious person, so it's been a bit of a adjustment.
I can't believe I made you sit down for an hour.
I know. Look at him. He's so still.
My parents would be so proud.
Well,
Paid a lot of money for
wine
that.
has a calming effect.
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah, I mean, I think Meredith's right. Like everyone's been really kind and inclusive of the winery and the brand and wanting to learn more and be involved. I mean, I am very surprised like how many people show up for when we have volunteer calls and just love it.
That's so cool.
And they show up like day after day. Like we did bottling this last week, and we did 5 full days, and about half of our people were repeats.
Wow.
Over
was
over
awesome.
and over
That's
and
so
over.
cool.
It's crazy.
That just shows you the booze culture, which rather I'd call it a culinary culture here, because alcohol is parallel to food. I mean, there's the same kind of complexity and layering of flavors and all of that, and the pairing. So I've got 2 more questions for you, and I promise. Then this whole ordeal will be done. So you guys have a lot of retail presence and restaurant presence and things. It looks like. How's that going? Where are some of the great accounts that you like to go visit that have your stuff?
Yeah, we've got a few love affairs. Our first customer was Cilantro, so we have
cool.
really special place for them. They're great to work with. They
I
carry a
bet.
lot of our cans.
Same kind of ideology too. Like they were younger kids, like entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Making those crazy burgers. Well, actually, yeah, they do make a burger, don't they? Cilantro.
I think they do have a burger, but the kimchi fries and
Yeah.
the tacos.
And the tacos,
He's
yeah.
still my heart. And then I really love this kind of dichotomy we have. Like we're in Whole Foods, but we're also in Tom's Market and Farm to Market Grocery and South Lamar Wine and Spirit. These
Sola Pizza, great.
yeah. Just a lot of
I love being at Vino Volo in the airport.
oh yeah.
That's like really
that's so
yeah.
That's really cool because, they're awesome. And when people first come into town, it's just great. Or when they're going out of town, I think it makes them feel like that community aspect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect bookends for the community. You start there and
yeah.
then you end there.
Yeah.
People buy the cans like in mass too, because the airport shuts down kind of early,
Yeah.
and you can't get a beer, you can't get a wine, and so they buy the cans and take them on the plane. And I'm not
That is
advocating because whatever,
No, that's
I can't
brilliant,
say it,
though.
but it
That
is brilliant.
Absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant because it's not too big to get you in trouble, and it's not too small to not have a good time on the flight.
Exactly.
New slogan.
It's exactly what you need on that.
That-
3 hour
Exactly
flight.
it.
That can is a third of a bottle.
That's perfect.
And it's like the same alcohol. Like our cans are, 12 to 14%.
Yeah.
They're not watered down.
This is the legit good buzz.
So I imagine you have this amazing collection. We tried the Chenin Blanc, which I'm still trying to get the varietal names right on this stuff. We talk agave, I can do it, but for grapes. And then the amazing canned rosé, and then this Texas Merlot. All very different, appealing to different parts of my personality, and I imagine your customers' personalities as well. What is next? Do you guys want to keep on expanding to new great cities? Do you want to, I know you're going to keep putting out new labels, but what's the next thing on the horizon for you guys besides the baby?
That's it. We're shutting it down.
Okay,
We're
fair
baby.
enough. I'll see you guys. Yeah.
We're so from a company perspective, we're opening another tap room in Denver.
Really?
So that'll be a lot of fun. It's kind of on the other side of town, and where the old airport used to be.
Yeah.
And I want to do something like that here too. We want to, expand kind of the tap room feel in Texas.
Yeah.
And
Barbara Jordan area. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, we just kind of want to keep on making it accessible to people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the important part.
Is retail a real big focus for you guys?
It is for the cans.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's kind of the whole
Bread and butter, right?
Yeah, the
No
whole
problem.
idea of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So chains, but we want people to realize like we're not just selling out on these cans. Even like the cans are great, right?
Yeah.
We're just providing something that's I think makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And again goes with our brand of being accessible and approachable. But at the same time, we want people to know that we're also working real hard in the back, like crafting these Texas or Colorado wines for you as well.
That's amazing. There's so much going on. I love it. You guys are making, really brilliant stuff. That's like one of the best parts of this gig, right? To have people to the house, learn about their lives, get to see them fall in love all over again, and then sip these wines. And you guys have done an incredible job. And it's shrewd too from a marketing perspective. A rosé in a can, even if some other people do it, I doubt the depth of flavor is going to be anywhere near what you guys are.
It's
achieving.
not.
Yeah.
No.
See? There you go. Meredith knows.
Unbiased
I
opinion.
mean, I didn't say this earlier, but like our whole thing with canning, we said we are not going to do it unless we can put the same like highly rated great wine we do in a bottle in a can. And like, cause it won't work if we skip out on that.
Yeah. it's really lovely stuff, and I absolutely will come down and visit. I'd love to get the tour. 6,000 square feet. That's like, yeah, that's brilliant.
We'll give you a discount. Also, that song
half
is
$1 million.
"You Gotta Be."
You gotta
You Gotta Be by Desiree. It
Gotta
just
Be.
came to me.
Oh, you gotta be.
Yes!
I was trying to
Yeah,
think of that. That's so funny.
That is a song. That really is. That really is a song.
great
Gotta be.
song.
I've heard that song.
Oh,
Yeah.
love the.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Well, I mean, now I know where I'm going on Spotify now.
yeah.
Obviously,
Makes
yeah,
a
you'll
lot
be
of
there all
sense.
night.
No,
it's
it's more
funny,
than
man.
normal. But really great hearing the story. Really great getting to taste the wonderful work you guys are doing. And we'll make sure we're in the neighborhood. I always want to make sure we'll send people your way too.
Thank you.
I
You can do
appreciate
a
it.
crawl.
Yeah.
They'll get boozed up and then wind up.
I would love that.
Or wound up. Either
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Both.
Yeah. But it's been brilliant. Thanks so much for chatting, Aaron and Meredith.
Thank you.
See you
Thanks for
soon.
having us. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. What do you guys think of Aaron and Meredith? It's great to hear the story of how they met, how it turned from a third wheel into love, into soon expecting a child. And now we celebrate their 1 year anniversary, 5 years as a married couple, but 1 year as an anniversary here with the Infinite Monkey Theorem Winery, Austin location. The products are great. I love the marketing. I love the story. And Aaron and Meredith are just an amazing set of personalities to be running this stuff in Austin. I hope you guys enjoyed, peering into how they met, talking about the 90s, talking about school, and really just kind of cracking into the kind of beautiful personalities that Aaron and Meredith both are. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V. No matter how distraught and potentially emotionally broken you may feel after the election results this week, do not despair, though, my friends. I am here. We are here for each other, and we will get through this. Or when you're thinking about The Walking Dead's trajectory over the next 2 seasons, please keep dancing.